So, Facebook's IPO tomorrow is slated for 11 o'clock Eastern Time, scheduled to price at $38. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to open at $38. What that means is that all the bankers and underwriters and everybody who gets to buy shares before the actual IPO, they get to buy their shares for $38. Okay? I expect there to be a pretty good frenzy in the morning on Facebook, and I would anticipate that it opens at least in the $45 to $50 range. Now, in my experience, and to be honest, I don't have much trading these IPOs because I like staying away from them personally. It's just the risk reward after seeing stuff like LinkedIn and Groupon. Number one, it's very hard to get filled at the price you want, okay? And that brings me to my first point. Do not use a market order, okay? I'm telling you right now, do not use a market order, all right? If you use a market order, I can almost guarantee you will get screwed. Because what happens is there's such a frenzy and there's so much craziness going on within those first few minutes that it starts trading that you have no idea where you'll fill. Remember, when you give a market maker a market order, you're saying fill me at whatever the market price is. Okay? It could be, the market price could be $39 or $40 when you first see it, but in the 10 seconds it takes for your order to process, it might jump up to 50 and then back down to 45, and you can get filled at 50. So use only limit orders. Secondly, if you don't have a lot of experience trading, watch Facebook. Just watch it and take it in for the experience, okay? There will be another Facebook IPO, maybe not anytime soon, but down the line. So if you don't have experience trading these IPOs or, extremely fast-moving stocks, the lure of trading it so you can say that you traded it and trying to make money off of it, in my opinion, does not outweigh the risk of getting stuck and getting trapped. So, just be careful from that aspect. And if you aren't going to trade it, I still recommend watching it. I know I'm going to be watching it for sure because you can learn a lot just by watching how it trades. Also, get in and get out, get in, get out, get in, get out. Do it over and over again. That's the way to do these IPOs. Okay? They're very, very volatile for the most part. And they have a lot of crazy swings. So, because remember, just like we're thinking about trading Facebook, day trading Facebook tomorrow and flipping it, what do you think all the hedge funds who are playing with millions and millions of dollars are going to be trying to do? Just like we're going to take our couple hundred or couple thousand or, $10,000 and try and make $1,000 or $500 within 10 minutes on a $1 scalp trade, those guys are thinking the exact same thing. They are licking their chops waiting for this because they know there's going to be tons of liquidity and they're going to be able to go in and out very, very easily. Don't let those hedge funds take advantage of you. Okay? So, and also understand that your perspective is the same perspective they have. Except the difference is they get to play with a lot more money, so it's going to be a lot easier for them to make money on small price movements. That's why IPOs are so good for flipping, because everybody's thinking the same thing. And, everybody's typically doing the same thing. And when that happens on something like a Facebook tomorrow, it makes for a lot of volatility and a lot of good flipping opportunities, but you have to take advantage of them, and you have to have your plan, just like anything else. Lastly, tonight I would come up with an expectation, a personal expectation for Facebook. for yourself. Okay? So, for instance, say to yourself, I expect Facebook to open around $45 and go to a high of 55. Or I expect Facebook to open around 55 and go down to 45. I expect it to open at 70 and go down to 60 and then bounce up to 80. Come up with expectations. The reason I say that is because then if you have expectations for it, you can then observe what it's doing in the morning, and then if it's not trading based on what your expectations were, then right away, you probably shouldn't participate. Okay? So if you're expecting it to open around 50 and that's where it opens, then play it because it's in line with your expectations. As far as people expecting it to go down, I'd be very, very surprised if it was going to go down. They wouldn't have bumped the IPO price range up from 32 to 38. They wouldn't have issued an additional 85 million shares. There is a tremendous amount of demand for Facebook shares on the private market leading up to this IPO, and you will see that demand tomorrow morning. If Facebook doesn't open at least $45, then I know nothing at all about stocks. Okay? So that's that. Again, I still believe the best way to play Facebook is through second derivative plays like ZYNGA or Groupon, be it on the short side or the long side, depending on your analysis. Pandora, LinkedIn, Zillow, QQQ, even Google with the Google Plus aspect. Friend Finder saw a nice day today, and we talk about some of these strategies on Tuesday's class, I believe it was, so you can go back and look that up. But it'll certainly be interesting, and I'm definitely excited to just watch it and take it all in. It's like a good sporting event, So, all right. No questions sent in today, and that's fine. We had a ton of questions earlier this week, so we had a good couple days of learning, and now we'll cover some charts. GWBU. So, obviously, we know the story as far as the promotion. And put in a lower low and a lower high today on very, very low volume, but what I like is that it bounced all the way from its low and actually went green on the day and closed in the green. And I was watching it towards the end of the day. I really like this demand at the end of the day. You can see that if you look at a 15-minute chart. I'm just ignoring this print right here at 48 cents. It's completely irrelevant. It's just an out-of-sequence trade or some mistake. So what I like is it closed on the highest volume of the day, on the highest up volume of the day, I should say. So it's definitely a good sign going into tomorrow. So within the first 15 minutes tomorrow, I would like to see greater than 1.8 to 2 million shares trade as the price is increasing. Okay? As for support, can see that once it got above that 145 range, it didn't go below 147 the entire last 2 hours of the day. So 147 is going to be our support to watch closely tomorrow. Below 147, I could see it doing a retest of today's low at 137. Above 137, you have minor support at 150 to 152, but the key support is 147. And again, the reason I'm choosing 147 is because that was the afternoon low. Remember, we're short-term traders for the most part, especially on a stock like GWBU where the bottom can fall out at any time. So therefore, we are most concerned with the most recent price action and what the chart tells us from that perspective. As for resistance, we've got the high of 160. Okay, and the all-time high so far is 165. So above 165, people are going to be targeting 175 and then $2. Yes, the volume dropped off, but as we've discussed with awesome penny stock plays, like SNPK, for instance, there's typically a major volume drop-off. Why? Because, like we've gone over in previous classroom sessions, they dump all the shares to get the float into a couple hands so that they can control the price action and really manipulate it. So this low volume is, this is probably more what the real type of volume is going to be in this 12 to 18 million shares. Because a lot of this right here was a lot of wash trading and a lot of, diluting the shares into select accounts like WDCO and VNDM and whatnot when we see them popping up with those huge, huge bids. SIRI, don't like this at all. Downtrend, broke to new lows. Highest volume on a down day since October. Volume pattern has really fallen apart, so it was rising on high volume and pulling back on low volume. Now it's pulling back on tremendously high volume relative to average, especially for this year of 2012, and it can't seem to find its footing at all. Looking at a longer term chart, if you look at this week, look at the weekly, it's down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks in a row. Okay? And the last time such a streak happened, the period that followed was weak as well. It went from 183 down to 127. Another similar streak back here in 2010, it actually went higher from 82 up to $1.20. However, in the more longer term, it was pretty much flat for about 3 months. So after a tremendous streak like this, yes, there could be a bounce. However, we see that after a lot of high volume weekly down moves in the past, it has tended to then consolidate or downtrend for, at least 2 months. So I don't know if SIRI will just be offering that many great opportunities based on its chart history. Of course, we'll talk about support and resistance anyway. So you can see big spike here, this 5-minute interval. It got up to 192, so that's going to be key resistance. Needs to break this 192 level. Let's get the 15-minute chart. And then you've got these key lows at 178. Below 178, we'll do above 192 first. So above 192, you've got then these lows right around here at 196. And then that $2 psychological mark. And then on the daily, as far as support, you've got today's low of 178. You've got the 2011 close. This is also what I don't like. So it closed 2011 at 182, went up to 239 for a high, and it's given up 100% of those gains. So remember, we don't like when stocks give up their gains. So below today's low, it also went below its low for the year. So January 4th low was 180. Today's low is 178, so we pierced below that low. Why do you guys click? What do you guys click to have that thing pop up anyway? So went below the low, and then we have this low here at 170. Below 170, we've got this low at 161. Overall, I believe there's better opportunities out there than SIRI. Oops. FFN, nice high volume up move today. However, gotta believe a good portion of this is just Facebook sympathy. So it'll probably still be in play tomorrow, but I'd be very nervous about this going forward. So FFN, like I said, I gotta believe a good portion of this today is sympathy on Facebook, and that's fine. You can't argue with the volume, which it was up, 50% today. However, we want to look at the chart history and what does it tell us about moves like this? What does the chart tell us about moves like this recently? Right, it gives up all those gains. Always seems to give up all those gains. So, just moving forward, I'd be very, very cautious of what the longer effect is going to be. Okay? Now, what else do you guys notice about this chart, looking at the weekly? See how much people have learned. So what does the volume tell you about the company and about the stock? Any guesses? Yes, exactly. Huge dilution. And why do we know it's dilution, pennies? Exactly. Look at all the volume that's trading right now. Where is this volume coming from? It's never traded before, so we can assume that it's dilution. So that's certainly something to be aware of. Major dilution on this name. As for resistance, this 190 level right here, that's the next high it needs to break above, 190. Above 190, you've got this high at $2. That makes sense. Above that, you've got some of these opens and closes and lows in that 210 to 215 range. As far as support, a lot of the volume started to come in towards the end of the day. Nice uptrend here into the close. So that uptrend line is going to be at 160 tomorrow. So let's see if it holds above 160 on pullbacks. Otherwise, then you've got that low at 151. Below 151, I would lean into this on the short side very heavily. First 5 minutes tomorrow, let's see if it does more than 300,000 shares as the price is rising. CMGO. Stock traded $30,000. It's in a downtrend. Did break above its recent highs, but there's no liquidity here, guys. Come on. So, again, we want liquidity. I'm not going to talk about things that don't have much liquidity. BIEL, again, nice uptrend, but there's no real liquidity. I mean, the stock's only traded about $50,000 today. Okay? Not even, I don't think. And again, you look longer term, this is just a disgusting downtrend. Now, as for support and resistance, it did break above these highs. So let's see if it can hold them now on any pullbacks, but guys, you know our style by now. We just simply can't get good opportunities out of stocks that don't have a lot of liquidity. If you want to become a consistently successful trader, focus where the liquidity is. Go where the liquidity is, okay? That'll make everything easier because Liquidity, the most liquidity means the most money. The most money means there's the most people. The most people means there's the most decision makings going on. The most decisions being made means there's probably going to be the most different types of opinions. Different types of opinions mean volatility. Volatility means up and down. Up and down makes we can make money on multiple occasions. So without liquidity, you don't get any of those things. So yeah, you know, you want to go where the liquidity is. Oh my dear. Sorry. Whoever sent this in, I'm really sorry, but trust me, I'm doing you a favor. I'm not even going to talk about this. MSLP, some okay liquidity. 13 million shares traded today. We can certainly work with that. In a downtrend though, and you know, to really bust out of this downtrend, we need a very high volume day and some good price action. We did get above the most recent highs of the last week or so, which is a start. So now we need to stay above those highs. So the 1.7 to 1.8 range, okay, with more critical support at today's low of 1.55. As for resistance, we've got the 2-cent level, and then above 2 cents, you've got this level at 2.28, and then this level here at 2.5. And then here, you've got a high at 3 cents. But again, the only time the stock was really able to make a big move was when it traded tons of volume. I mean, this day it traded 100 million shares on the 28th of March, and it moved, you know, 100%. The day before it had traded 36 million shares. So if you look on the days it's traded volume similar to today, it typically doesn't give off really big gains. So we need a much, much higher volume day. Even though 13 million shares is certainly greater than the other stocks we've looked at for the last two, compared to its most recent history, it's not that good. So we need to stay above the support and break the resistance we talked about, and it needs to come on increasing volume. I'm going to save SPY for last since that's the overall market. PAPA Papabello, I remember buying this stock years ago I got a hard mailer on it when I was a noob. They were going to be the next Pizza Hut in China. So yeah, I can tell you this thing's a piece of crap. And a lot of volume today, not much price action. Just don't really like it overall. You know, chart is in an obvious downtrend, and there's real volume that's come with that downtrend.